All right, today we are taking an incredible journey through thousands of years of history. We're going to try and understand one of the world's most dynamic peoples, the Turks. So let's just dive right in.
Now, that seems like a simple question, right? But to really answer it, we have to travel across entire continents and through fallen empires, starting in the ancient past and coming all the way up to our modern interconnected world. It's really a story about constant motion and incredible transformation.
Our journey starts on the vast, endless grasslands of Central Asia. And you have to understand, this wasn't just a location. It was the forge that shaped the very soul of the first Turkic tribes. It was a place where every single horizon was a new beginning.
So, we've broken this huge story down into 5 key chapters. We'll start with their origins out on the steppe, then follow their incredible migrations, we'll witness the rise of their great empires, explore their modern transformation, and finally, we'll take a look at their global legacy today.
Okay, Chapter 1, the steppe. This is where the core of the Turkic identity was really formed, in a world that wasn't defined by borders or walls, but by the rhythm of the seasons and the constant needs of their herds. I mean, just think about what that life was like. The horse, it wasn't just transportation, it was a partner in life, it was a weapon of war, and it was this powerful symbol of freedom. This mastery of mobility led to their legendary skill as mounted archers, which made them just unbelievably formidable warriors. And with no written texts, their entire history, their epics, their laws, it was all carried in song and poetry, passed down through generations. You see, this nomadic spirit wasn't just a lifestyle choice. It was a defining characteristic that would soon send them spilling out from the steppes and right onto the world stage, which, of course, brings us to Chapter 2. And this ambition, it is literally carved in stone. The Göktürk Empire, which was the first great Turkic state, left behind these incredible monuments, the Orkhon Inscriptions. These weren't just records of who won what battle. They were a declaration of intent. They were a message to the future that they were here to make their mark on the world. And wow, did they ever make their mark. Turkic tribes scattered in one of history's greatest migrations, moving up into Siberia, down into Persia, and west, always west, toward Anatolia. But here's the really remarkable part. Wherever they went, they absorbed and blended with local cultures, creating something totally new while still holding on to the core of who they were. So this constant movement and this incredible knack for adaptation, it all set the stage for our third and maybe the most famous chapter, the age when Turkic dynasties went from being nomads to becoming the architects of world-shaping empires. You can see this incredible progression here, from the early Göktürks on the steppe. Power eventually consolidated with the Seljuks, who built this massive empire stretching across the Middle East. And then, from the Seljuks' legacy in Anatolia, rose the empire that would dominate the world stage for centuries, the Ottomans. And hey, if there's one single date you're going to remember from all this, make it 1071. The Seljuk victory at the Battle of Manzikert was a major turning point in world history. It fundamentally shifted the balance of power and established Anatolia, which is, modern-day Turkey, as a new Turkic homeland. The Ottomans built a civilization on an incredible scale. For 600 years, their empire stretched across Europe, Asia, and Africa. They commanded the seas, and they built architectural wonders that still take your breath away. But crucially, they managed a hugely diverse, multi-religious society, acting as a true bridge between East and West.
But as we all know, no empire lasts forever. The long decline of the Ottoman Empire led to a moment of profound crisis, but also one of incredible rebirth. This brings us to Chapter 4. The dramatic transformation from a centuries-old empire into a modern nation-state.
The change was, it was radical. Led by the visionary Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the entire foundation of society was redefined. The Sultanate was gone, replaced by a republic. Religious law was replaced by a secular legal system. The very script they wrote in was changed from Arabic to Latin. It was a complete, top-to-bottom revolution. So ultimately, this wasn't just a political change. Ataturk's vision was to build a brand new national identity, one that looked firmly toward the future, grounded in science, in education, and in a shared sense of purpose as citizens of the Republic of Turkey.
And this brings us to our final chapter, because the story didn't end with the founding of Turkey. Far from it. The journey of the Turkic peoples continues today, and their legacy is truly global.
It is so important to remember that the Turkic story extends far beyond the borders of modern Turkey. Nations all across Central Asia, like Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan, all share a common linguistic root and a historical bond that stretches right back to those ancient steppes.
And here's what's really fascinating, seeing how those ancient cultural traits evolve. That mastery of mobility, the thing that began with the horse, is now expressed in a completely different way, through contributions to modern science and technology, designing aircraft, and even building satellites. That spirit of movement and innovation just keeps going.
So, when we go back to that first question, who are the Turks? The answer isn't a single point on a map. It's a rich and complex tapestry. It's woven from countless threads: their Central Asian origins, their deep Anatolian traditions, Middle Eastern influences, and their connections to Europe.
You know, if one word could possibly define this entire epic journey, it might just be this one: resilience. It's the story of a people who have built empires, watched them fall, and have risen again and again to adapt and redefine themselves for a new era.
Which leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. Their journey really shows us what happens when a culture is defined not by staying put, but by constant motion. It creates a story that is never truly finished, but one that is always expanding toward a future its ancestors could never have even imagined.